So today we'll be working with Kingdom Animalia, Phylum Chordata, Class Ace. And the example that we are going to be using is the domestic fowl, Gallus domestica. We are going to be dissecting the bird to display the alimentary canal, the female and the male urinogenital system, the circulatory system, and the respiratory system. But before we go to the dissections, let's start by examining the bird, the external features. How is the bird adapted to its mode of life? How is it adapted to reproduction? How is it adapted to flight? How is it adapted to feeding? So we're looking at the different features that we can see externally, and we try to give the adaptation that the feature is having. Now let's start from the head region. On the head region, we'll see the mouth that is modified into a beak with no teeth. What's the function of the beak? Is to take food from the soil. It can also use the beak to fight against enemies like kites struggling to take up the young chick. Just above the beak, we have the nostril. The nostrils, a pair of them, are used for gaseous exchange. It can take in air and send out air through the nostril. Now this bird is still young. If it's a bigger bird, we'll see the comb up here and the wattle down. Remember that the bird shows sexual dimorphism. The males are bigger and they are brightly colored. Also for the males, the comb and the wattle, they are bigger, and they use that to display sexual maturity. Now we have a pair of eyes. The eyes are covered by upper and a lower eyelid, which are very tiny. And below the eyelid, we have the nictitating membrane. It can move that membrane from time to time to moisten the eye and also to clean dirt. If you look just behind the eyes, you see that we have the eardrum. It's having just the eardrum without the external ear. The eardrum is used to receive sound waves from the environment. Now when you look at the body of the bird, it is covered with feathers. And we have different types of feathers. Like if you look at the forelimbs, it's having the flight feathers or the quill feathers, which are keratinized so that it will be able to use it for flight. The same thing with the tail feather. Below we have the down feathers, which help in insulation and also to protect the bird from injury. Now when you look on the hind limbs, you see that they are ending with claws. Each bird is having 4 claws, and they are also having what we call the 3+1 arrangement. We have 3 digits going in front and 1 behind, so that it can use it to bring the branches on which it's landing. The hind limbs are also covered with scales. These scales will prevent the bird from having any injury. Now, when you look at the anal region, you have the cloacal opening, which the bird uses for excretion, uses it for reproduction. Now, if you look at the bird, you can notice that the forelimbs are modified into wings. The forelimbs are modified to wings. Now the bird can use it for flying. And remember that we have 2 groups of birds. Birds of flight and birds that cannot fly. Like this domestic fowl that we have, it cannot fly. But the ones that they can fly, they still use the same feathers for flying. These wings, the bones inside, they are hollow. There's an air space inside to reduce the weight. Within all of the bones of the bird, they have an air space so that they can reduce the weight and enable the bird to fly. Now, if you go into the mouth, we have a tongue leading into the esophagus. And just below, when you dissect, you see that there is a crop that the bird stores food there partially before sending it to the gizzard for digestion. When you look down here, we also see that there are tiny feathers there. We can call this the flocule. They have no real use, but they can also help in insulation. Now behind the tail, we have a gland that can secrete oil. The bird will send the head from time to time to pick up some of the oil and rub on the feathers so that the feathers will remain smooth and will also be waterproof and airtight so that the bird can fly around.